Hi, this is George at Reproductions.com. We're getting near the end of our Caravaggio reproduction of the Incredulity of Saint Thomas, or Doubting Thomas. So what we're going to do is the final aspect of this is to tie everything all in. Is we're going to do one more black glaze. Okay, we're also going to, when you look at the original, there's some yellowish tint in here. There's a little bit more red in here. Listen, we're going to tie it all together right now, just in the glazing section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to show you how I'm mixing the glaze, but it's primarily just a black glaze. I'm going to cover everything except for the really highlighted part, which is this area right here, this area right here, and this area right here. And I won't touch very much of the faces. It's mostly tied in the background. And then adding just a little bit of the red, a little bit of the yellow where it's needed to really stand out. I'll add that into the wet black glaze. Now this glaze that I'm actually mixing isn't like a regular black glaze. It's a very, very thin black. I don't want to go much more darker than I have it right now. I just want to use it to tie everything in. So there'll be barely any black mixed into the glaze. So the glaze I'm using is, I include the link, is just a Winsor Newton blending and glazing medium. You can mix your own glaze. There's plenty of recipes out there. It's mostly a little bit of linseed oil. It's a little bit of varnish, a little bit of turpentine on there, which is why you always want to make sure whenever you do a glazing, everything has to be completely dry because it will wipe away wet paint. So what I have here is I have a container right here. I've got my glaze mixed right down here. I'll put a bunch of it right here. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of brown, a little bit of blue, a little bit of blue, a little bit of brown. You'll see that makes a nice black glaze. Starting my outside corner, and all I'm doing is getting a nice even glaze on there. Because I don't want it to be so dark that I don't see the background in here, the transformation where it goes from the robe here to the back of the background. Then what I do is when I've got a lot of the glaze is already spread out and it's really light now on my brush, there's barely any on there, and I've smoothed this area out, then I'll start blending it in more here, where I don't want to apply a heavy glaze. And you'll see it really ties everything in nice. Okay, I'm going to mix some more. And just add a little bit of blue until that brown turns, or the brown turns more to black, just like that. Get a little more glaze on there. Nice and thin. Don't work with a lot of it at one time, because I really want to be able to blend it in nice. I want to control it. I don't just want to take a big brush and just paint the whole area, because I really want to control where a lot of the glaze is going. And you'll see what I mean. It's like I'm not just going right into his head and right into his face. You know, I want the primary amount of the glaze actually going in the background. And then I want to take the leftover that's on the brush, almost like a dry brushing, and I want to apply that into the robe, around the face, and blend it in farther. But I don't want to just stop it right here, because if I stop it right here, you can almost see it looks like a photograph thing. So you still got to blend it in. But what the key is that I'm not blending a full load of the mixed glaze, because I wanted to kind of transform that Caravaggio effect with that light. And I'll use my finger and wipe it off like that, blend it in. Now, when there's just a little bit of glaze, there's barely any on here because I'm pulling it from other areas, then I'll go in and I'll go around here, avoiding the really bright areas that I want to keep. And it goes pretty quick. I mean, we've already done a third of the painting. Okay, so we've got some more here, and you want to use up your whole pile. So we'll use up some right here. And the glaze really goes a long way in moving objects and giving, like the way the glaze is going over the top of his hand right here really puts it in the shadow. But you don't lose the whole hand, and I didn't have to paint it all different colors. I just painted it like normal and then used glaze to create the effect I wanted. And that gives a nice finish right there. Yeah, I'm finally happy with that. Okay, so we're gonna mix some more. A nice tint on there. So you see the brown. Now you can just use a black glaze if you want. On this painting I've actually used just black. I hardly ever use just plain black paint. I will in a glaze or if I'm doing a grizzle. But right here it's just as easy to mix my own. Plus it gives a little bit more of a brownish tint is what I'm going for. Okay, so we got nice here. So we're going to work on this corner, working down. And I'm going to stay pretty far away from Jesus's robe. I'm leaving a good inch or two in there. And the reason I'm leaving a space in there is because I want to blend that down. And I don't want to pull the dark glaze into the robe. It's really important that we keep this white robe as white as we can. But I do want to go into his face a little bit more because Caravaggio did it on purpose to almost glaze out Jesus's face, because he wanted your primary focus of your attention to be here. So no matter where you look in this painting, you're always looking here. Everybody's gazing there. Everything's pointing there. Everything is trying to get your focus of attention right into here, which is, this is the golden image, or the golden circle is right in here. So that's why we'll do the least amount of glazing. And so we want to promote that by having it go darker, lighter, 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 lightest area of the painting. Even here is very light, but it still draws you back into here, draws you back up to their gaze, draws you back down. A lot of control. Caravaggio is a master controlling where your eyes went in the painting to keep you engaged in the story. So I'm taking that extra glaze, just kind of blending St. Peter in a little bit, staying away from the forehead because that's a nice bright area. And the beard right there. Okay, grab some more over here. And follow into here and around his beard. One of the things with glazing is you want to remember is glazing is never a one-step purpose. You're always doing multiple layers of glaze, multiple layers of very thin glaze. It doesn't matter if you're using it to bring out a color, highlight a color, blend a lighting effect into the background. There's so many different places you can use it where it really can lend an overall impression on your painting and really give you a nice desired effect. And that's good right there. You see I'm just kind of refining the darker areas right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it heavier, and just it's this area right over through here. And a little trick you can do. I want to pull some of this light stuff in here. But a little trick you can do is take your, when you get down to the bottom like I'm doing here, start here, that's your darkest. Now go through here and go back over it again. Go up here, dark, but keep blending it right down and go over this darkest area again. So you keep working the darker and darker. So the darker is getting multiple coats of glaze. And I'm just going to define some little bit of dark areas, but this is it right here. This is pretty much where we're going to apply all the glaze. Okay, now what I want to do is, like I talked about, that little bit of a yellowish tint. So what I want to do with the yellow tint is I'm going to use a smaller brush. In fact, I'll just use the fan brush. And the yellow is very little. So I'll take the fan brush, that yellow in there, and my other regular brush. And I just want to dab it where it's going to be. And just kind of brush it in just a little. The funny part is you may look at it and say, well, you barely see anything. But there's a little bit in there. There's that little bit of yellow actually makes a difference. And you'll see it more in his hand right here because there is no yellow in there. And in his chest. So what you do is you take that and you just barely blend it because there's still a little bit of glaze on that brush to really help blend it in. Now you're not blending it in so much that it disappears, you're just highlighting it a little. That's all. Just highlighting it just a little bit. And I'm using it sparingly. And I'm taking a look on his face. There's really not a lot on Thomas's face except on the nose. So I can nibble in here, around the hair. Okay, next we're going to do a little bit of the red, or a little pink. So we'll put that on there, and we want to make this really, really thin. Okay, and it's mostly there. And that's it. But if you have any questions or comments or anything, please, feel free to reach out to me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, if you could please subscribe to it. It goes a long way in me keeping these videos for free. And I can get into more detailed projects and stuff like that, which we have some real nice ones coming down the line. But if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm glad you watched this. And I want to thank you again. And I really love Caravaggio, and I really love this painting. And I hope you do too. Thank you. Have a good day.